My name is Ademola Adeniji. So I'll be walking us through the three important documents that we need for our admission process. So before I start, I would like to thank Dr. Maiketayo for giving me the opportunity to speak with students from OAU, particularly students from the Department of Chemical Engineering. So I want to thank him again for giving me the opportunity. So also I want to say hi to Tofumi as well. Okay, so I have 35 minutes to go through my slides, so I will try my best to cover the three topics. So about me, so I actually want to say some things about me. I'm from Ibadan, just like you've seen from my name, Ademola Adeniji. So I had my bachelor's from LAUTECH. So I also studied chemical engineering. Also, I received like a master's in energy at Central Supélec School of Engineering in Paris, via the IDE scholarship. Also, I proceeded to Erasmus Masters, in which I was opportunity to study in France and Portugal. As well, I was fortunate to receive a master thesis prize for my master thesis internship, in which I carried out in the last 6 months of my master studies. Presently, I am a first-year PhD student in material chemistry at the Institute of Sustainable Material Science, Mulhouse in France. So majorly, I'm working on making new materials for hybrid sodium-ion batteries. So of course, I can also call myself an engineer. Right. So today I will be walking us through the three important components of our admission process. So because if I may go back to what the organizer said, I should talk about these things as if I'm talking about people that doesn't have knowledge of all these things. And of course, I know that most of us already have people that we are connected to that are already showing us how to apply and everything. So, but of course, we can still learn one or two things from all this. So, like like you all know, these three documents are very important if you really want to receive the congratulation letter from the funding institution, basically. So, I'll be walking us through the CV, the statement of purpose, and the recommendation letters. So as you all know, these are very important in order for us to receive the congratulation award that, okay, you are finally admitted to study in chemical engineering in this particular university. So majorly, I'll be starting with the curriculum vitae, which is the CV. So here, what we'll be seeing in the subsequent slide is like a sample because majorly when people do something like this, they just tell you, oh, you are going to have this, you will have that, you must put this, don't put this. But here I'm going to be showing sample from my own personal CV that I've used to apply to several scholarships and I've been fortunate to win some of them. So majorly to start, we all know that they really want to know who you are, firstly by your name. So they really want to know your name. So majorly you have to specify your personal information in your CV. So, and you know that by this, we have to have our name, the address, the phone, the email, and also our LinkedIn link. So you can just majorly put it in this like format. Also, what is important is that you have to like make sure you put your LinkedIn. So in this type of prototype that I have here, it means that I try to put like a link to it. It means when I click this link, it just take the person reading my CV directly to the page. Also, probably you are interested in computer related research. So it means you have to have some code that you must have written, maybe uploaded on GitHub. So you can also put the link so that the individual reading your CV can just click that. So as well, what is important is your research interest because once I pick your CV, I should really have a clue about what I should be expecting from you. So from there, you can see I did not beat about the bush. Here, in my own case, I specify that I'm interested in electrochemical energy storage materials. So it means this can either be applied to supercaps, which is supercapacitors, or battery research. So it means I'm interested in professors working in this type of field. So probably in your case, you don't really, because I've seen a lot of students that, oh, maybe you did not really do what you like in your undergrad research. Maybe you were working on, let's say, absorption, maybe removal of pollutant, but you don't really want to do something like this. You want to do something like renewable energy or maybe nanomaterials or even catalysis, homogeneous or heterogeneous. Maybe you want to, that's something you really want to do. So if you are not really sure of what you want to do, you can just put the research field of your final year project. So one important thing that I really want to just cross from here is that it doesn't matter whatever you put here. That doesn't really mean that will be the final stuff you'll be doing in grad school. So it doesn't really work like that. So majorly you want to put something that your experience actually resonates with. So that once I check your research experience, I don't start seeing something else. And I saw in your research interest, you are putting something completely different. It means how are you going to justify this? So, so I think that's what answers the research interest part and our personal information. So now the next section that I expect from from a CV is the educational section. So because I've seen in some CV where people will put objective statements. No, you don't need all those stuff because this is not a job application or something like that. This is a graduate school application because they will also ask you to write your statement of purpose. So why are you still putting objective statements in your CV? And we know that there are some schools, probably high-rank school, they will particularly tell you that your CV should be 2 pages. So once you start putting objective statement, it means you've already occupy some space that you could have used for something else. So here, majorly in your CV, I expect you to put your institution, just like it has been written here, the address of your school, also your studies. I major in chemical engineering. Actually, you can also put chemical engineering, a bachelor of engineering in chemical engineering. For some schools like Cloud Tech, we have like bachelor of technology in chemical engineering. You can put something like that. So it doesn't really have to be major in chemical engineering. I'm just trying to copy all those US people that they always put something like major in this, major in that. So I wrote major in chemical engineering. So here, you have to specify the duration of your studies from January, from the inception of your bachelor studies to the end. Now, something that is very important, your grade, you have to specify your grade. Like here, I chose to put it in, okay, in this format. You know, there are some people that probably you are having 2-1. I put here that you can put grade plus percentage, maybe just to make it, because if you find the ratio of 4.4 to 5.0, I think it will be over like probably 80 something percent. I think having like 80 something percent will make it look very, very nice. So it means you're like, okay, I don't want to, I want to make my CGPA to look nice. So probably you did not have like first class or something. So maybe for people with the very high CGPA, maybe they are the first in their class or they are second, third, or something. You can put it because it also boosts your application. So because you have to make use of every opportunity that can like help your application. For instance, maybe for some people that are applying to European countries, they always love the rank. The first thing they will ask you, what's your rank? What's your rank? I would just feel like rank. Why is everything rank? Are we in military regime or something? So you can also state your rank, maybe top 1%. You can even put top 1%, top 2%, top 3%, top 4, top 5 or something. But if maybe you are not like in the top 10%, you can put your CGPA in percentage. So because there are some universities, there are a lot of very good, excellent students in which they have 4.9 and they can even be in the top 10% of the class. So in fact, you can just put your CGPA in percentage as well. So it could even end up being like 97%. So also you have to specify the thesis. So the title of your thesis, you can put it there. Here, I put publication because it has been published. Also, so it is not important, it is not compulsory for you to have publication. You can just put the abstract or your all the full thesis that you have. Maybe you want to publish it or not. There are some students that the professor don't might not even care that oh, you are not even publishing this or that. So you can just upload it on Google Drive. Like all these things that you're saying, they are uploaded into my Google Drive as PDF file. So I just copy the link, then I linked it to my CV. So anybody, any prof that is interested can just click and just view the stuff and just go. So also, like we all know, chemical engineering, we always do design project. We can just put our design project title, maybe put the abstract as well. So I think it's also very good. Yeah, for the research experience. So I think following the education, we have to go through the research experience. So yeah, also there's a particular format. You have to put the the lab that you are doing this experiment, the location, like this is University of Porto in Portugal. So yeah, the duration of the experience, you can see this is like a 3-month experience. And what are you basically doing? Yeah, I understand that, okay, you might not really have a title for what you are doing. You can exclude it, but if you actually have a title for what you are doing, you can specify it. I've seen some CV in which they will also put the person, their supervisor, they will also include it. You can also put it there. So it doesn't really mean that this is what you must do. But I think this is like the expectation of what you should do. So you can just include the your supervisor as well because they can contact. Because one thing in graduate school file evaluation is that they always put the metrics that what they will be analyzing your file for, and they will also put the evidence. So because they will ask the reviewer to show that this applicant, has he or she provided evidence for this particular research experience? So they will be marking your metrics against the evidence that you've provided for it. So that's why if you are lying in your CV and they did not see any evidence, maybe there are some people with first class, but probably you lied on the CV and there's no evidence for what you have put on your CV, you may not get the admission. So it is important that you just provide experience that you genuinely have. So yeah, I provided how to like put this into your CV. We have some very strong action verbs that you can put here. I put it here on the slides. There are a lot achieved, accomplished, developed. You can see here, I was saying I characterized graphene nanoplatelet and this using all these equipment. I also developed all these. I characterized all this. So it could be that you achieve something that is very impactful. You can also quantify your achievement as well. So maybe you can put innovated, trained, maybe you trained a lot, maybe student or something while working in that lab. Maybe you trained some bachelor students. You can also include it there. Negotiated, you can also put all these there. So I think this will really go a long way to help in the way we write our research experience. Yeah, I think after research experience, because there are some of us that may not really have research experience, maybe you have internship, you can also include your internship into your research experience. Then just go back. The same way you've written this, so you as well have to present it this way. So your internship experience can also be included into your research experience. Or maybe you have work experience. You can also you can separate it as research experience for your undergraduate thesis. And subsequently, for the next section, you can put work experience. So you can just put your internship, because the reason why I'm saying your internship can be in your research experience is there are some students that did their internship in a research corporation or something. Maybe they are doing research. Because, for instance, if you add your internship at FIRO in Oshodi, Lagos, because it is very good institute for performing some research in materials development for several applications. So I think that kind of experience, what you can put into your research experience. So you cannot call it work experience because I think it fits well into your research experience. So I think in that way, It can either be in your research experience or your work experience. So as well, maybe you've worked in some corporation or you are schooling or as well as working. So I think that answers that part. Here we have the academic conference and seminar. So you have to have another section in which you will provide details of your conferences that you've participated, the seminar workshop, maybe you had your thesis defense, design project defense. So yeah, you have to put like, because it is possible for you to just create an event that has never happened, because it's possible for you to just present it like, okay, this event did not even happen, let me just put it. But they are very smart. The reviewers are very smart. They will check for the evidence. So you have to provide evidence of whatever you are saying. Because for instance, there that I'm saying, okay, I had a presentation at Purdue University in USA, like it is graduate school exposition. So they might be surprised that how is this possible? But I attached a poster. So once they click it and check, they will see that, okay, I think this thing is actually true and correct. So that's why most times you have to put link to whatever details you are providing. Even here, that is just a national conference happening in Lautech. So yeah, I also attached a poster. All this has been embedded, just like I mentioned previously, into a Google Drive, and you can just copy the link and link it into your Word file of your CV. So yeah, you have to provide the details, the title of your presentation, the event, and also the date of the presentation, and as well the location. So that is what I've presented here. Um, yeah, so it doesn't really have to be that. It can just be the abstract. Just provide an evidence that you've done this particular activity for your academic conference slash seminar or even workshop. Okay, you might ask me that, okay, can I put conference that I just participated at and I did not present anything? Yes, you can put it, because at least you have more experience, like how things are being done in conference, or you could have gained some things. I could recall there are some conferences that we went, but we did not do anything. But the professor will always ask us to write a report about the conference that we've attended, about the topic that we are really interested in that particular conference. So it means before we go, they will tell us that it means when you're in the conference, you'll be looking out for things because you know that you are going to write a report. So I think that's something you can always do. You can write a report about the conference as well, about a particular topic you really like that they have discussed. So I think that will also serve as a as a proof that you've attended conference, seminar, or workshop. Here is for relevant writing sample. This is relevant writing sample because as a professor reviewing your application, because you're applying for a PhD program, so you must really try your best to supply relevant um, writing sample. For instance, it could be publications, it could be posters, it could be reports. I'm sorry, 1 minute. So yeah. So it could be posters, it could be reports, thesis, review. So those are like samples that you can write. You can write independently from like doing plagiarism or copying from somewhere or something like that. So it will show that. So for instance, we've started we've started writing report from 200 level, like SWEP. You must have written some reports, 300 level SciWest. I think for some universities they call it SciWest. Also, in your 400 level, you must have written your internship report. Some of you are very lucky to do your internship in oil and gas industry, some production firm or something like that. So I think you must have done a very good work. And of course, for you to be able to get your grade, you must have written a report and also do some presentation. So you can do that. For instance, in my case, here I wrote a review because in in all these programs they always tell us to write review articles of the so page. So they'll just tell us to write it. Yeah, I wrote the review. Of course, it is not published. So I just put it there. Of course, we perform plagiarism check as well, so which is very important. So for you to be able to say this is original, you will check the plagiarism and you see that okay, the percentage is below 10% or something. So it means it is original article. Yeah, as well. Yeah, for this second one, so this is really giving you it for people that might not have like publication, maybe have not been to conference before, it is possible, or maybe I've never had opportunity to submit anything to anybody to review. So yeah, I was I think one of the professor told us to pick a journal in high impact factor journal, like maybe Nature Energy, Nature, all these very high rank Q1 journals. So and they told us to pick this best article and to criticize this article. So it means you have to read it and criticize it constructively about what they did not do or something they did not really do very well. So it is of course, this is very difficult thing to do because for you to have publication in this type of what's it called? Journals, it requires a lot of work. They must have vetted all the experiment and everything. But however, there is no perfect publication. There's still loopholes in all these things you have online. So yeah, I wrote a review about I think this article I found it in Advanced Energy Materials, which is like how to fast charge lithium-ion batteries. So I wrote a report criticizing this article. Of course, initially it was not easy, but if you read it like 5 times, you will still see errors. Of course, there are errors there. So I think this is very important. You can put it there because I don't know, maybe that was what my professor saw and decided to give me opportunity to do PhD with her or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, there's also a lab report. This is just a lab report. I just put it there where we are just doing, you can see introduction. So we did not do anything out of this word or something. It is just introduction. So I put it there as my relevant writing sample because this is showing that I have the fundamental knowledge of electrochemistry or something like that. So that is just to give you a hint that, oh, I don't have publication. I've never been to conference or something like this. So this will give you an opportunity. So I think we are going towards the end of the CV part. So here we have volunteering experience. So here I think you can put whatever you want. Maybe you are involved in organizations, maybe you are a Muslim or you are a Christian. So I have a lot of people that have this kind of experience. You can put it there. So majorly you have to be careful, put whatever you did and also quantify it. Yeah, I just chose to put YouTube channel or something like that. That's okay. I do this or that. So in your case, you might have because I've seen a lot of people that they volunteered for like 10 organizations and everything, and they have this experience. Make sure you put it because it says a lot about you that you're a good leader or something like this. So I think this is what you should also put into it. If you have evidence for it, you can attach it as well. You can put like more than 2 to 3, but you have to be very careful for maybe some schools that they put like restriction to the number of pages, maybe 2 to 3 pages. You have to be careful. So it doesn't really matter that you have to put a lot before you pass your message that I have this experience. No, 2 to 1 is okay. Just pick the best 2 or 1. So yeah, we have language as skills. So I think this is just very important for maybe people applying for European countries or something. But for US application, I think it doesn't really matter for you to include language and skills. But here you can put your skills in terms of software proficiency. Maybe I know some of you, of course, we are chemical engineers, so we must have used MATLAB. So I expect that the chemical engineering graduates must be able to use MATLAB. So here we must have used like design expert for some people doing like absorption or some of these things. We have lab view or maybe analysis skills like UV, SEM, FTR, Raman, NMR, AFM, all these like equipments. You might have the experience, but now one warning is that whatever you've never used before, don't put it because it makes no difference. Because okay, now that even now I put that I've done Raman, SEM, AFM, all these things. For my PhD, the professor did not even want to hear that I've done all these things. So you still tell me, okay, you have to go and do the training again. I'll feel like, okay, no problem. So imagine probably I still put it there and I've not never done it before. The professor might say, okay, now I saw it in your CV that you said you can use SEM. Okay, this is SEM equipment. Start using it. So you know that there's going to be a problem. So probably you put it there that you can do this or that. So I've seen a lot of cases where students put something they cannot do. So and it is backfiring. So I think you don't have to put whatever you've never used. Just put whatever you are sure of. It will really go a long way to make a difference. Yeah. And also it also make you that you are very honest because maybe you are doing interview and the professor asks you, what can you do? I can confidently use MATLAB. However, I'm still learning how to use Python. So once you say something like that, the professor, okay, he can use MATLAB. No, Python, no, okay, maybe more training. So it's different from I can use MATLAB and Python. That's the problem. They'll just give you, go and write this function in Python. So you get to Python, you put it on ChatGPT. ChatGPT cannot do it. So you see that's a lot of problem. So I think just put whatever skill you can do and you're confident about. Put it. So lastly, I think we have award and recognitions. So which is very important as well. So so you can list all your awards and everything. So I'll move to the second part. So yeah, I have any advice. So yeah, I'm saying don't lie on your CV, which is also very, very important. And it's not worth it to lie. So for the statement of purpose part, here I'm saying that the statement of purpose is very important aspect into our CV. Like if you are familiar with football, it is the Kevin De Bruyne of the admission process or LeBron James. So here for the SOP, it involves your motivation, experience, studying plan, and your future goals, which is really, really very important. So yeah, I brought a sample of the SOP that I've extracted from an institution, and I see that this really is very important for our application, especially for chemical engineering. Yeah, from Stanford University, they were saying, okay, for your SOP, you have to like open up with a summary paragraph, discuss your motivation and preparation, your experience in service and leadership, your areas of research and professors of interest. So I think these are very important aspects that we have to consider when drafting our SOP. And I've brought some samples. Yeah, for the introduction part, so I think if you want to introduce, you have to like start with discussing about problems in your country, also, or probably discussing about knowledge gap in a particular area of research. Also introduce your passion for advanced degree. So I think this is really important. Like the introduction paragraph should really speak about what you really want to do. Like, okay, I'm applying for a PhD in chemical engineering at this also university as a reason to as for these reasons, basically. So you have to specify the problem statement. It can be like this person is specifying the problem of power supply in Nigeria and is able to like provide different solutions that can be done in order to achieve this problem of power supply. And that basically served as his motivation for applying for a PhD in chemical engineering. So I think this is very important for our SOP. In the next part, you have to discuss your academic experience. Majorly, I also always tell students that if you want to discuss your academic experience, mention this experience. Maybe, okay, you've done these particular courses or something like that. So, and also you have to state how you got to this particular experience. Okay, maybe it is your SWET program, maybe it is sideways or internship or your final year project. So you have to specifically state it there of how you got to this experience. And what did you do? Like, what is your contribution? Because when they are reading the lines through all this paragraph, they will really be focused on what you did yourself. So I think that's very important. And lastly, what is the impact of this experience? So if you are structuring all your essays like that, I think you are going to make an excellent essay at the end of the day. So if you are like putting into mind, okay, how you got there, what did you do, and the impact of this experience. Maybe it improved your research skills or your communication skills, so and so stuff like that. Also, your research experience, you have to follow all these things. The way, what is the title of your research, how you got there, what did you do, and the impact of this research. So I provided like a sample. Maybe I'm going to share the slides after my presentation. So I think this will really go a long way to guide you into writing a very beautiful SOP. As well, the same way. So you just have to write it, okay, how you got there, like in terms of the internship experience, the volunteering experience, you can write it in such a way. And lastly, probably you did like some position after your graduate program. So after your bachelor's program, maybe you are working as a research assistant. So you can as well do it in such a way. So lastly, yeah, I think I like this place very well. Why? Because this is really good. And I've never been seeing this type of thing in the SOP that I've been reviewing with people. But I think people that do something like this, I've seen someone that did this and also got like fully funded for a scholarship in chemical engineering. Like it did an online course, and after doing the online course about that particular research interest, so he later on started to develop research questions after doing this. Because if I'm a professor reviewing an essay and I saw a student doing something like this, I will feel like this particular student is prepared for graduate school research, in my opinion. So I think doing something like this, you did online course, just mention it and try to develop research question from such a course. And lastly, okay, maybe I still have like future goal paragraph. Here, you have to really specify your professor of interest, maybe 2 to 3 professors working. So they can be doing the same thing. It doesn't matter because your research interest actually matches um, that of theirs. So I think it's important to state this as well in your SOP. And lastly, your future goals. So you have to mention what you really want to do after your PhD, maybe going into industries or probably continuing to the academic field. So, and lastly, yeah, these 2 websites, they are like very good websites. The first one, why did I put it? Yeah, I'm putting it because this website is for Americans or probably holders of permanent residence, that because they have opportunity to apply for NSF fellowship, graduate fellowship. Here, this person, Alex Hunter, compiled all the personal statement of this student into this website. So if you go there, you will see how for several fields, not just chemical engineering, other engineering. So when you go there, you will see how these students write their personal statement, and it will give you some kind of hints. The second, we give you opportunity to know professors that have funding for their research. Or probably all these professors that have won, you would have seen it on LinkedIn that, oh, I just want career award or something. When you go here, you are able to see these professors and the amount of money they got for this particular position. So by that, you can say, oh, I think this professor has money. But never, never put into your email that I saw that you got money. Don't try it, please. So lastly, for recommendation letters, so I think it is very important, like your recommendation letter can just be the only factor that will either make you get the admission or not. Because if your recommendation letter writers are not really good, it means even though you have the best of profile, they might not recommend you for admission. That's why they say recommend and not automatically awarded PhD admission. So yeah, who can write the recommendation letters? They can be prof, lecturers, supervisors, employers, professionals in the field, and they can be your mentors or your advisors. So here I'm just showing a sample. I think this is the second to the last slide for today. So here I'm just showing like a prototype of a recommendation letter a professor wrote for me. I think the professor is in Paris. Like it's not like, because you don't really have to write a lot before a student can get something. So you can just write 3 good paragraphs and it says a lot about the applicant. So yeah, majorly, how long have you been in contact? Does this individual have passion for research? What is the title of their work that they've performed under them? Your work contribution, how has this person contributed to this particular research that has been done in their lab, the quality of the thesis. Okay, is there any publication contribution or presentation skills, stuff like that. I think you don't really have to write a lot about that person before you can drive home the point. No. And here, don't write your recommendation letter yourself. It is very important, please. So lastly, for this whole presentation, first thing is that you have to seek assistance from people. Let people guide you and help you. Because if you say, oh, I have best CGPA 4.9 something, 8 something or so, so, and you're like working individually. Of course, at the end of the day, you will later get to the point, because for you to have 4.8 in chemical engineering is not, it is not beans. At the end of the day, you find your track, but the track might be long, but I think it is wise for you to seek for assistance from people, and they will be ready to guide you. So I think that is very important. Yeah, you have to join good groups or make friends that you have the same goals together, because from there you'll be pushing yourself, and at the end of the day you later find yourself in similar position. Yeah, you have to be positive. Maybe you have been receiving rejections every day. Is it only you? In fact, it is possible, because I remember a day, two schools that I love so much, they sent me rejection at the same time. Like, it's as if probably they did meeting and let us send the rejection at the same time. I was so sad. Like, I was inside the bus. I did not even know when the bus driver drove beyond my junction or stuff like that. So like I was so sad that day. So but majorly, even though you're receiving the rejection, it's not a big deal. It's meant for everyone. So yeah, just be positive and also don't relent. Keep on putting the hard work. And lastly, be very prayerful. So I think that is my submission for today, and I wish everyone good luck. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ademola Adeniji. That was very insightful session, especially talking about reviewing. I mean, I learned something about reviewing publications. It's one thing I enjoyed in the session. Thank you so much. So we have some questions from our participants. We'd love you to attend to, even though we are behind schedule for you, but we'll take a few questions. So first question here is, someone asked about, is it possible to include the inaugural lectures of lecturers in maybe seminar or conferences in their seminar session of their CV? Is it ideal to include inaugural lecture of lecturers?
Yeah, I think you can, but you have to be truthful. Don't just maybe say because they gave you the pamphlet of the inaugural lecture and that automatically says that you attended. No, you have to be there, listen to the lecture, and also be able to say some things that are okay. Of course, you can put it attended, so you have to specify attended the inaugural lecture, but you have to put the title of their work. Maybe the work is relevant to your research experience, research interest. So you can put it there that you attend. Of course, it is academic settings. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So the other question we have here is, are there any ways or recommendations that you would give to us on how to check for plagiarism percentage, maybe like sites or any way we can check for plagiarism percentage in our reports before we include them in our CV?
Yeah. So my friend always says something. Probably like there was somebody asking for Turnitin link. He just said, "Why are you looking for Turnitin link? Don't copy anything that you did not write." So I think that's the best way to do plagiarism check. So if you are sure that you are not copying what you found online, so I think it's possible for you to just write and not do any plagiarism check, because it's very difficult. Even though you use what's it called, Grammarly will tell you that you have 0%, and of which it is not true. If you want to say Turnitin, maybe you are looking on YouTube for links, for login links. At the end of the day, if you drop your file into their repository, and those people might just fail to just delete your file from their repository, it means they can just publish it or claim ownership. And in fact, when you later submit that file, into anywhere you want to submit it to, it might say that there's plagiarism because the person you submitted it to did not delete it. So it can just bring 100% plagiarism. But I think you shouldn't be, of course, you can use Grammarly because it's possible, but the best way to do is not to copy something. Just write freely. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So last question here. Someone asked about the duration of year. What about people that had an extended academic year due to some